Every action has a consequence. Or in the words of physicist Issac Newton, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's the case with basketball as well. You play well, you're rewarded with a win. And if you misbehave, well, there are consequences. Misbehaving and breaking the rules in a basketball game could get players, coaches, or sometimes even fans ejected from the game, which means they can't even be on the sidelines and have to go back to the dressing room or outside the arena. Here are the top 10 biggest ejection moments in the NBA. Number 10. Rasheed Wallace's technical fouls. Unarguably, Rasheed Wallace holds the most hilarious record of all time as the player with the largest number of technical fouls in NBA history. Now that doesn't sound as interesting, but when you take into consideration that he has received technical fouls for something like staring at the referee, you can't help but say that it is quite funny. Now, the highest number of technical fouls also means that Wallace has been ejected that many times. Wallace has been ejected a total of 29 times in his career. And while some of the ejections have taken place for misdemeanors, others have taken place for things like staring or even bouncing the ball too hard. Number 9. Tim Duncan laughing on the bench. You think getting ejected for staring at a referee was bad? Then this next scenario will blow your mind. In a 2007 game between the San Antonio Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks, Tim Duncan had already received a technical foul at the beginning of the match. Tim Duncan was laughing on the bench at something, but referee Joey Crawford thought that Duncan's laughter was directed towards him mockingly, and for this, he ejected Duncan. The NBA later retracted the technical foul, but the fact remains that Duncan was ejected during the game. Number 8. Chris Paul bumps the referee. If staring and laughing are bad reasons to eject a player, well then so is what happened to Chris Paul. Chris Paul is known for his antics on the court, but nobody can argue that he is one of the best point guards in the league today. But in the 2022 season, in a game between the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul was ejected for bumping into the referee on purpose. During the third quarter of the game, Paul hurt his finger and wanted to talk to the bench about it, to which the referee responded. There was an altercation, and while the referee was walking away, Paul bumped him with his shoulder, a move that immediately got him ejected. Number 7. Joakim Noah shouting. Now, not all the cases of ejections are funny. There are instances where players are ejected because of their own faults. One such instance occurred in 2014 when Joakim Noah, the center playing for the Chicago Bulls, was ejected. Noah pointed his fingers at the 3 referees and yelled out profanity. Obviously, this instigated the referees, who ended up ejecting him. This also cost the Bulls the match, which was pretty important for the team. Number 6. Ron Artest Malice at the Palace. The 2004 game between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers will forever remain as one of the biggest black marks in NBA history. Why? Well, that day marks an incident that has since then come to be known as the Malice at the Palace. Ben Wallace, the center of the Detroit Pistons, was going for a layup when he was fouled by Ron Artest, the small forward of the Pacers. This led to an altercation between the two players, and eventually went on to involve both the teams as well. As this discussion was going on, an angry Artest charged into the crowd to attack a fan that had thrown his drink at him from a few rows above. Artest caught hold of the wrong fan, and the other players had to jump in quickly. The fight escalated to a fight between players and fans, and security had to be called in. The event led to the suspension of 9 NBA players. Number 5. Draymond Green's groin kick. Draymond Green is an invaluable part of the Golden State Warriors, and there's no doubt about that. But there have been instances where Green's antics have been questioned, and he has been accused of acting in an irrational and eccentric manner. One of the worst instances of this was when Draymond Green kicked his opponents in their groin. And the worst part is, it was not a one-time incident. There have been several instances of Green doing this. Number 4. Dennis Rodman ejections. Over the course of his career, Dennis Rodman has been ejected multiple times for his eccentric acts. The most famous situation occurred in 1997 when the Chicago Bulls were playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves missed a free throw, which led to a hustle for the ball between Kevin Garnett and Dennis Rodman. Trying to get hold of the ball, Rodman lost control and fell out of bounds, where the cameramen were sitting. As Rodman was about to get up, a cameraman turned his camera towards him, which infuriated Rodman for some reason. He ended up kicking the cameraman in his groin region and got ejected and suspended for the act. In another such instance, while Rodman was playing for the Dallas Mavericks in a game against the Utah Jazz, Rodman was ejected for sitting on the court. He did so because a foul was called without reason, and he wanted to show the refs where he was positioned when the foul occurred. Number 3. LeBron James' first ever career ejection. LeBron James as a player respects the game and has played clean for most parts of his career. In fact, the first ever ejection that Bron got in his career was in 2017 when he was playing for the Cavaliers against his former team, the Miami Heat. Bron obviously wanted to contest the decision, which led to him getting a technical foul and consequently getting ejected for the first time in his career. Number 2. Kobe Bryant ejected. The Black Mamba is without a doubt one of the best to ever play the game. He never backed down from any challenge and faced them with sheer willpower and commitment. But sometimes his anger on the court may come out on the referees as well. And that's what happened in the 2010 game against the Charlotte Hornets. With 3:40 left in the fourth quarter, a foul was called on Kobe. This frustrated Kobe as the Lakers were trailing by 13, and he yelled out profanity. The referee, who thought that the comment was made against him, ended up ejecting Kobe. Obviously, the Lakers ended up losing the game as well. Number 1. Steph Curry throwing mouth guard. Basketball is a highly competitive and physical sport, and it is for this very reason that safety equipment like the mouth guard have been created. But by now, it is a well-known fact that Steph Curry hates wearing mouth guards. Most of the time he ends up chewing them instead. And in certain cases, when he's frustrated, he ends up throwing the mouth guard. A similar situation occurred in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, 2016, when the mouth guard that Steph threw away hit a fan. Steph was immediately ejected for the first time in his career. Since then, this has been the most prominent reason for Curry getting ejected. That brings us to the end of this video. Think we missed something? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more such content. Bye!